not
I'll
all
let Noah
websites
talk.
are created equal. Most websites are created to be a digital business card. But if you want to get new clients, no, there's a lot of algorithmic factors. There's a lot of reasons why one website will rank over another website.
All right, welcome to our fireside chat. It is very warm and toasty here in our fireplaces, and welcoming Christian and Noah from TaxProMarketer. And
Hello.
today, I'll let you all introduce yourselves, but today we're going to talk about some of the myths and questions that you guys all have about marketing, and also maybe a little bit about the sales process too, because if you can't close leads, then that's a whole nother problem. So
Yep.
it's like two topics all in one. But Christian, why don't you introduce yourself and Noah? But they're amazing. We've worked with them for years. I'll just give my 2 cents real quick. We've worked with them for years.
Please.
They're really good people. They know what they're talking about when it comes to SEO and Google ads and that fun stuff. It's one form of marketing. There's many forms of marketing, like paid Facebook ads, organic marketing strategies. There's LinkedIn strategies. So they'll talk a little bit about what they all do, but we're going to have a very casual conversation, keep this interactive. So if you want to jump on video, you're more than welcome to. If you don't, you don't have to. Also, if you have questions, please type them in the chat box.
Cool.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
Christian, take it away.
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, guys, Christian Jones here. I'm the CEO of TaxProMarketer. I've been here for 9 years, and Noah, you've been with me for a number of years as well, but we do digital marketing exclusively for the tax and accounting space. So that's kind of our bag. But we've been doing this for 17 years as a company. So I've been here for about half of our existence. And I didn't start as CEO, of course. I started in SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. If you're not familiar, how do you get ranked on Google? I've got a lot of experience with paid ads, email marketing, social media marketing, website building. We do a bit of all of it for our customers. And so today is a great kind of synergistic webinar between Michelle and I and Noah, because when we do presentations, we actually just had Michelle on our webinar, kind of our podcast. It wasn't a podcast, I guess, but a live presentation last week where Michelle is cracking the code of how to do sales. And some of you that are obviously coming from Michelle's side of things are saying, if you've run her program, not if you've run her program already, then you're probably asking the question of how do I get the leads to then close? And so working with Michelle is a lot of fun, just because there is that synergy between marketing and sales. And
Yeah.
Noah and I talk with people every day in our space and industry, and hardly anyone got into this business because they were jazzed about being a saleswoman, a salesman, about doing marketing. Now, you need that, right? You need to do marketing. You need to be good at sales, but you are good at accounting. You're good at tax planning. You're good at tax preparation.
Right.
You're good at tax resolution. Whatever it is that you're doing in our space, that's your specialty. And as you grow any business, it's really good to think about delegating, right? Not all of you maybe have staff. Maybe some of you do. Maybe some of you need one, but are looking and having a trouble with that. But in general, marketing is something that very quickly, like, you can build a business without doing any marketing online. And that's really common. Most people we talk to have hit this kind of, the revenue level changes, but they've hit this ceiling of, I've grown to the point I can grow to within kind of my warm network. I'm getting referrals, but it's not quite fast enough, or I'm churning through more clients than I'm keeping, or whatever it may be. I want to get out of what I'm doing and go a new direction. So I'm hopefully not stealing too much thunder from Noah and I of what we're going to talk about, because we want to talk about myths today. Again, I have no slides. We're just going to riff with these fire backgrounds behind us, but we want to try and, to those that want to grow and need leads from another source than just referrals. Although I would say what we do actually does help with referrals as well. But if you're just looking to try and innovate, the internet is a great place to start. Digital marketing is, the modern day billboard. Throw it up there and let people drive by and see you. Most people get online to try and find their accountant, their tax planner, their bookkeeper. They really do. And at the beginning of this isn't a myth, but it should be maybe on our list. Maybe it is further down, but people really do get online every day and look for someone like you. And the first problem we have to solve for is that many of you on this call right now, or if you're watching this recording later on, the problem is that you're just anonymous. The problem is that we don't find you. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me pause. That's me. Hi, nice to meet you. I've also got Noah with me today, and Noah is one of our he is our sales manager. So he does calls with our customers. He also does a lot of account management outs, strategy sessions with clients. And so I like bringing him on too, because we both have a different angle on these things, a lot of calls under our belt, and we're here to help. So we've got myths that Michelle, maybe I can give us, or you can ask us, whatever you prefer.
I'll start some off, and then based on where our conversation goes, I'll give you the next myth. But I think the biggest one we should discuss first, which I don't even think's on here, but we can just do a quick overview of what is the difference between sales and marketing from your guys' point of view. Because I ask the question all the time to everyone in the abundant accountant family community, whatever you want to call it. What's your biggest challenge with sales? And the answer many times is, well, I need to get more leads. I don't have enough leads. Like 50% or more answer it that way. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a sales problem, actually. That's a marketing problem, right? So why don't you share, Christian, Noah, like, what is the difference between sales and what is the difference between marketing? Because we are going to talk about, for those people that say, oh, well, my sales and follow-up systems, they're good enough. And it's like, well, if you want to grow to $100,000, $500,000, $1 million firm, you want to create a firm that you can sell in the future, you really need a serious sales process, just like you have workflow sales process or workflow processes in your firm. So why don't we just start the difference between sales and marketing, and the myth of what's the biggest challenge in your accounting, bookkeeping, tax firm right now? And someone says leads, and that's not actually a sales challenge.
Sure. Yeah, let's start there. So I would say there's some similarities between sales and marketing when they're done well. The first thing I would say is that they are intentional systems. You can have sales and marketing by accident, right? You can have a bad sales and marketing system by accident, but I would say a good marketing system would be similar to a good sales system in that it is intentional, it's focused, it's trying to aim at efficiency. What are the most efficient, effective things you can do? So in that sense, if you talk to Michelle, again, maybe I'm missing, I'll get to the contrast here in a second, but there's more similarities between these things because these are parts of all businesses. Every business, whether they mean to or not. And again, when I say whether they mean to, some of you are like, I've just been growing without trying because my name gets passed around and I get these referrals. And I love that. Like, that's intentional in the sense that you've done good work. You've got a good name. People trust you, right? But I would say that obviously, if you work with Michelle or if you work with us, we're going to put some things on the board that are, again, intentional. They're focused. They're targeted. The tactics change, but marketing is somewhat universal. Like, the principles of what we've been doing in marketing haven't changed in 10 plus years, but how we go about implementing those tactics actually does change. There are new platforms. There are new things, right? We don't do TikTok for our customers. We don't, play in that space. But that's just an example of another social media platform that sprung up. And what do I need to do? And so I think that marketing is trying to be focused on, again, what are the most efficient, effective, not chasing every shiny new object. And as it relates to the differences between marketing and sales, maybe I'll just give the simple answer, and Noah, you can jump in too. But my thought around that, Michelle, is that marketing is the bridge to sales. Marketing is that baton being passed. It's all actually the same. It's all actually the same. It all flows down. If you want to think about funnels, the top of your funnel getting found somehow, however you get found, you pass out flyers, you go to some BNI group, you do something in, the Chamber of Commerce, you go to an event with a booth, or you do online marketing. You get found first, you start a conversation, they're interested, and now marketing has led to your sales process at the bottom of that funnel. And so they are different in the sense that you could say marketing and sales and make them sound like, oh, it's just one department. And truthfully, it's like one giant funnel. Marketing picks up down this funnel sales picks up down this funnel once marketing has gotten people to raise their hands.
Correct.
Sales begins when people's hands are raised and they want to learn more about working with
And
you
I think
specifically.
that's like the biggest difference. It's marketing's getting the interest of the prospect, having them raise their hand, saying, yes, I need help. And then the sales process begins. So I like to think of it like the marketing is getting the lead and getting that
Mhm.
person interested in your funnel or whatever, even though that they might not buy right away because you might have to continue marketing to them,
Right.
as time goes on. And then the sales process begins, like you said, Christian, when their hand is raised.
Yeah.
Hey, I need help. And now that begins your closing process. And
Right.
how are you going to get this client engaged with your firm? How are you going to get them to pay you up front? How are you
Right.
going to get them to sign your engagement letter? And then you book your first meeting with them. And now then becomes your workflow process.
Right. Absolutely. No, I agree. Noah, what did I miss? What should we add to this, or should we move to the next one?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. My only thoughts, or I guess my main thought is marketing done right is going to make sales a lot easier because when you have your marketing built out right, when you have the right content, when you have the right magnets, when you have the right nurture, when you have the right reviews, when you have the right all of this stuff, it actually makes the sales process much easier
Yeah.
because you've already nurtured, you've already built relationship, you already have credibility. But if you just go off on a wing and a prayer with marketing and just say, I don't know, I've got a website or I've got this, that, or the other thing, it's kind of like, well, yeah, but what intentionally are you doing to actually build that rapport, to build that credibility with prospects coming in? And
Yes.
marketing can do that and then make everything else easier.
Yeah.
I would add to that, Noah, marketing can pre-sell your prospects in your sales system. And I think a lot of people in the tax and accounting space are doing a lot of heavy lifting on discovery calls, right? So someone wants to talk, they fill out a form on your site, they get a schedule, book an appointment on your Calendly, whatever it is. They're on they're on your list, and you don't know anything about them, and they may not know much about you. And what marketing can do is cover a ton of objections, cover a ton of warming them up, just getting them past those initial hurdles that they need to get past to figure out if you're the right fit.
Yeah.
Your marketing should be dismantling objections. So by the time you get to the sales process, like is saying, they've already moved themselves through that process where it's not a cold discovery. I found you online, or I've heard about you through a friend or something. Like your emails, your website, your reviews, your online ecosystem should queue you up, not to have to, avoid a sales process. You will still have a sales process, especially for hiring clients. You need to have your ducks in a row with what Michelle talks about. You need to have proposals and your pricing dialed in and your flow and your script, and run the play. Run that play, be ready for it. But you'll find it's a lot easier when people have already been able to do their research, find your business online, and make some decisions, some micro decisions. They haven't given you money yet, but you just look the part.
Yeah.
You look the part. That's what marketing can do, is help your leads know before they ever call you. Case studies, reviews, the way your site's written, the email follow-up you do, or let's go in the negative, the stuff you don't do. It just can create more barriers, or it can take down barriers by the time you get to a sales process. And so some of our most successful clients, they've got pretty gaudy sales closing numbers. And that's not because they're bad at sales. They're good at sales, but it's a lot easier because they are warming up their leads before they ever get on the phone. That's what good marketing should and can do. So yeah, well said, Noah. I like that. And Michelle, I don't think we're going to get through 11 myths, which is okay. We'll get through as many as we can, but which one do you want to hit next? Maybe we lost Michelle. Noah, let's go myth number
Let's
two.
hit the next one. Let's
Let's do
go.
myth number two.
So let's
Oh,
do it.
I'm here.
So,
I'm here.
oh,
Sorry.
she is
Oh, there
back.
she is. She's back. She's back.
Yeah, no, I thank you for diving deeper in that. But I think one of the other big myths that I think we should tackle is, and I've seen it with current students of mine and
Sure.
clients of mine and they start doing marketing either with you or organic marketing or paid traffic or something. And they're like, well, I mean, I've been doing it for a month or two. I don't see any results from my marketing. What's happening?
Yeah.
So maybe you can shed some light onto the reality of how long it takes to see results from anybody's marketing efforts, be it with you.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you can talk a little bit, Christian, about what you guys specifically focus on from the stand of marketing.
Yeah.
Because, I work with someone else who does simply an organic strategy, and then there's paid Facebook ads, and then there's LinkedIn stuff. But I think a lot of firm owners think this stuff's just going to happen just like that with the snap of your fingers. So maybe we can shed some light on the reality of what it takes and
Yeah.
how soon someone could see some results from their marketing efforts.
Yeah. I might answer that a number of different ways to try and give like a more robust answer than just here's how much time it takes. Because honestly, it varies. If we're starting from scratch, that would be different than if we're having a conversation with someone that already had an existing Google business profile. So let me just talk about that for a half second. Your Google business profile is one of the most important things in your online marketing ecosystem. It's not your website. It's where you get reviews on Google, right? So you can put up any old review on your website, right? You could get reviews to Facebook or Yelp, but getting a Google business profile that's built out and designed well, and then getting reviews, that and a few other kind of key things, maybe I'll mention 3 things in terms of speed, that actually has a lot to do with how quickly things work. Because what we're talking about here is how quickly will things work, Christian or Noah? In my opinion, a lot of that's actually in your control. I know how to build websites. I know how to write emails. I know how to write social media content. But the beginning of your marketing funnel starts with awareness and visibility. So if I build out everything that I'm building, and even if I run paid ads, I can get you clicks quickly. But if they go to your Google page and you have 0 reviews, that's like going on Amazon and looking to buy a product that, again, has no reviews. It's no feedback. Am I the first to ever buy this? Have they been around for a while? Is there anyone that's ever been happy, mad? Are they hiding? What's the deal here? Like, people make buying decisions a lot around the types of reviews or case studies, testimonials, things that you can put before them. And specifically, when someone searches for accountant in Detroit, CPA in San Diego, tax planner in Dallas, right? The people that Google is going to show are going to be the businesses that have more reviews, that have not only just more reviews in terms of count and a higher star rating, but it's actually more about frequency and recency. So if you want to do a little test while we're talking or just do it later, do a search in your market. What keywords would you love to show up for? Maybe it is tax planning. Maybe it's bookkeeping services. Maybe it's XYZ. Look at the people who are showing up on page 1 right now. I would venture to tell you that most of them are there by accident. They're not doing everything. They're only doing some things. And in Google's algorithm, Google's going to prioritize whatever they can. Is their site fully properly optimized and built? Do they get weekly blogs? Do they have current and fresh reviews that are coming in regularly with frequency and some level of recency? Not usually. I was with a gal on a call on Monday, and she was in, oh, my Lanta, I think she was in Houston. Yeah, no, she was in Houston. And we did some searches, just like I'm telling you guys to do in Houston. And we looked at the list of people that were there, and they're completely, it's not static, it's dynamic. They're completely groups that we could overtake with our system. But if you never get reviews, to kind of come back to the question, Michelle, if you never get reviews, you won't probably experience that much success, because I can get you clicks and visibility, but reviews right now has an outsized impact on performance.
So
It's
how would one get reviews? That could lead to one of the next myths, right? Like, I've already asked my clients to leave a Google review, or even Christian, I just started. I don't have any clients. I don't have any
yeah.
reviews. So then what do they do?
Yeah, that's a great question. And again, when you first start a business, I would assume most people are going to think about their warm network first, right? So if we're talking to startups here, if you're with us today, glad you're here. Don't neglect digital marketing, but your first clients can come from digital sources. And if you need some reviews to get started, I have encouraged clients in the past with that kind of like, I'm a startup, I'm brand new, I have no customers. Who knows about your work product? who knows about your work experience, who can comment on you from a truthful, professional kind of standpoint, that's not a bad person to get a review from. To be clear, that's probably not exactly what Google's terms of service would have you do, but I would tell you that in the grand scheme of things, it's a very light gray area to step into, just to get a review from someone that may not actually be a client, but that can truthfully speak about you. If you need reviews today, I would 100% tell you who knows about you, who worked with you in another firm, who's a former client, who's someone that's not your grandma. Okay, let's not go there and get into those weeds, but I would encourage you to get those reviews from people that can truthfully and honestly speak about who you are and would be glad to do so. And they don't even have to be your biggest fans, just people you've done jobs with before, contract work with before. I think that's one thing you can do. But reviews, like all things in marketing, is a numbers game. If you asked 10 customers to leave you a review, my hope is that you get 2 or 3 of them to leave that feedback.
Yeah.
And that's where you can start to, if you made it a part of your sales, well, sales process maybe, or delivery process of the actual work you're doing, where you got the customer, they're in you're in fold, you should have a regular rote system of telling them that you'd love them to leave a review. You're glad to have them as a customer. It'll help you get found by other people just like them if they took a second to leave you a review. And then you follow up with an email or a text. That is the system that you need. So that's, as it relates to speed, Michelle, I want to come back to that question. And no, I want you to address it too. But I would say when it comes to speed, if I'm signing, and I did this week, I had a guy sign up for our core package this week, which is kind of our flagship offering. And I told him one of 3 things, and this was one of them. If you don't get reviews, it's probably not going to work that well. And so that's one thing I would tell you, that if you get all of the bells and whistles, if you do all of the stuff, if you dance on TikTok, but you don't have reviews, right now in this current moment, your results are just going to be muted. They're not going to be as powerful as they could be.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm a big proponent. I mean, I take people through my review process and then I have them leave a review and I say, duplicate this exact process for your firm. And at least try to get 1 a week and put it on Google and your Yelp page, or if you have a Facebook page, have them leave the review everywhere. So
yes, I love that. I love that. Noah, I want to bring you on. I've got more in my mind, but what do you think when you think about setting expectations for marketing?
And
well, let me hit on reviews.
Like getting people to raise their hand.
Yeah, let me hit on the reviews. I've got a couple thoughts on that before we get too far away. I talk to so many people and they say, well, I tried to get reviews once. And I'm like, really? Like that was it? And they get discouraged because, well, I ask my clients for reviews. Dare I say we raise our hand if you fall into that bucket. But part of the issue is there's too many points of friction for you trying to leave a review. Think about this. You go out to a restaurant and you say, man, that was a great meal. Sure liked that. I should leave them a review. Well, for me, it's my wife and I, and we have 4 kids. And so what am I thinking? Well, I'm just thinking about getting my kids home at the end of the day, getting them in bed, moving on. I've left the restaurant and I'm not thinking about it anymore. It's out of my head. So I'm probably not going to leave a review. I might have had the best of intentions to do that. I might have really liked the business that I went and, that I went to, but that doesn't convert to a review. You have to have a system. You have to have a process. Like everything in running a business, whether it's from lead generation to sales to your internal processes as a company, you have to have a process and a system. And the same thing works for reviews. And if you think asking once verbally is going to get them to leave a review, it's probably not. It might. Yeah. But think about this. What if you were meeting with your client face to face and you get them when they're happy, and you have a QR code with a direct link to your review page sitting on your desk, and you said, hey, client, this is so great getting to do this with you. We love getting our clients' feedback. Could you actually take a second and scan this QR code and leave us a review right now before you leave the office?
Right.
Who's going to say no to that?
Right.
They're not going to say no to that. They're going to leave you a review because you have given them an immediate next step that is a very low path of friction. All they have to do is scan the code. Anyway, that's just one thought on that, but they're critical. It's everything that we do. So if you're not getting the reviews, it's going to be challenging because that's your digital reputation. Yeah. People come to you on referrals because that's your personal reputation, but you're going to get a lot more traffic.
Yeah. I built my whole business off reviews. Like I never spent money, Noah, on paid ads up until 2 years ago. And Karen, let me know if you can hear me. So I think reviews, and I tell my clients, and you guys preach it, it is the gold mine of your business.
Yeah.
100% will make everything so much easier for you. And
But let me say this to that, Michelle. When we're talking about the larger ecosystem of the algorithm, though, it's not only reviews. It is reviews, and that's a big
Right.
part of it. But we're also talking about getting seen. And this goes to your question earlier on what's the time frame for all of this?
yeah,
It's two people showing up to the gym. One of them's been doing 50 push-ups a day and running a half mile 3 times a week. The other one's been sitting on their couch eating Doritos for 20 years.
yeah,
They're going to get very different results in a short period of time. But you have to get started.
Yes.
So the reviews are kind of the great equalizer, though. That's what I love. We can build the greatest website, have everything coded right, get the right content, do all of the SEO things. But if we have clients that take the reviews seriously, if you come to us and you have 1,500 tax clients, I know this isn't like a heavy, but if that's like what you have, and we say, cool, we can get 10% of those to leave a review,
it's great.
that's a lot of reviews. That's a lot of reviews. And
Right.
all it's going to be doing is pouring gasoline on everything that the marketing is doing.
Yep.
On the fire. I forgot that part. Don't just pour gasoline on things. That's weird.
Gas on
Yeah,
the
well,
fire.
Patrick
Yeah.
wants to know, how would you ensure you only ask clients who are happy for a review versus a process that just asks everyone? And Patrick, my 2 cents is I only ask people that are happy clients and that have done the work that I've asked them to do. So if someone is working with me and they do 50% of what they were supposed to, I do not ask that person for a review because their review is going to be skewed and they didn't complete everything. So that's not in my best interest. That's just my 2 cents. But Christian, what do you recommend for a process
Yes.
versus asking everyone and anyone, which I don't think you should do anyway, because on leads, you don't want to talk and work with anybody and everybody. So I'd say
Right.
your review process should be similar, but would love to hear your opinion on that.
So we have a software called Client Stack. When you work with us, again, we've got kind of two packages, but Client Stack's in both of them. And it's a CRM, it's a texting and email platform, but it also does review generation, reputation management. And so it's a couple of clicks. It's your CRM. So you got all your customers in there and you click a start button and you decide if you want to text or email them this review campaign, asking them to leave that feedback. Patrick, it's intentional. But I want to just say, Patrick, you can, if you have a Google business profile or if you get one, you can get a bad review. And it's kind of funny. We're talking so much about reviews. There's so much more in marketing. So maybe after this, I'll try and pull us back to your question or we can move on, Michelle. But
yes,
unhappy people are more likely to leave a review than happy people. So if you do this long enough, you're going to get bad feedback. It's going to happen. Don't be afraid. Don't at all be afraid of a bad review because if you're getting consistent, positive 5-star reviews, then you'll drown out bad ones. And if you respond like an adult to a bad one, it's going to get lost in the mix for users. They're very used. It's not normal that a business has a perfect 5-star rating. It happens, but that's not my goal. My goal for you is to get regular, good reviews from happy customers because you're asking. And when you get the crazy person who leaves you a bad review because you didn't respond to their email last night, or I've seen it, they're not even a customer. You just didn't pick up your phone and they left you a 1-star review. I've seen a lot of that. And I've seen real reviews that might have actually had some merit that were because the customer, like the person we're serving, dropped the ball. That also happens. And like, if you respond like an adult, calmly, and not getting in the mud and slinging mud when someone's doing that to you, it actually can end up making you look more trustworthy. And so you've got to have a plan to get those reviews. And that's the process with your team or yourself, Patrick. Use our system or use some system to say, I only want to send review requests to these 10 to 20 people that I met within the last 2 weeks. You can be intentional about who gets the request. But anyone could on their own go to Google and leave you a review. And that's just not something to worry about. So let me come back to the original question, Michelle, then let's move on.
Okay.
Organic ranking on Google, which is what we're talking about. This is ranking for free on Google. You can also pay Google to show up whenever you want. You can pay to run ads any day of the week. Don't do it on your own. You'll lose a lot of money. But you can rank for free on Google, and that typically takes, on average, somewhere between 3 to 6 to 7 months if someone is being intentional. It depends on competition. It
Mhm.
depends on reviews. It depends on a lot of factors. I've seen small towns that are incredibly competitive. I've seen large towns that are completely vacant when it comes to like a strong player. There's a terrible website or no website. There's 2 reviews with a 3.8 star rating, and that's the only show in town for those keywords, those searches. There's a lot more opportunity in our space than you guys probably think. That's the thing that I like to tell people at the beginning. When I do market research with a lead that I'm talking with, I always leave with like, you could do this. You could be number one. Give it enough time. Let me build this site. Let me do blogs. Let me get all your key profiles up. Let me get Google Business Profiles set up and optimized. And you get reviews. You're going to be just fine. There's none of you on this call right now would I ever say that it's impossible for you to be on page 1 of Google for free. It's completely possible. It just depends on how bad you want it. If you want it, you can have it. If you don't want to make it a priority, then it's not going to happen. And that's where we get people at times that are like, I don't believe in marketing. Whether it was with me or with someone else, they come to me and they're like, Christian, why are you different? And the reason that we're different is we coach our clients through this. We train them on it. We actually give bonuses in our first month. Our customers get $250 off of their first month's fee for doing a few things. And one of those things is getting their first review with us. We incentivize our customers to take the actions that we want them to take. And hopefully we can train you to see the value of it, because I don't know if I'll share my screen, Michelle, but I can. I've got some of our case studies and reports on the ready. I can show you. When you regularly get reviews, you'll get actions. And maybe some of you don't want volume. That's okay. A lot of you probably don't want volume. That's fine. Your good, juicy leads are still doing their homework and looking around online, and they're asking their warm network, and they're snooping around. And if you look like the best option, it greases the wheels on your sales and it makes it easier. So that's one big thing that in the absence of reviews can lead to kind of some clunkiness with your marketing, where you're like, why is it not working? And it's like, well, you have 0 reviews. Maybe if we fix that, everything else will work. And so that's my job. My job is to coach our clients and give them the system to make that an emphasis. I can't get a review for you because I don't know which one of your clients are happy. But if you'll work with me, then we'll give you a system that makes it simple and easy.
Yeah, love it. Okay, cool. So we've talked on that. For those of you here, I'd love it if you can put in the chat box any other questions that you all specifically have today for Christian and Noah, so we make sure we have time for those. So why don't you take 30 seconds and, any of those marketing mythy type questions or thoughts or like beliefs that you have around marketing. And if there's one around sales, I can answer that. But why don't you type that right now in the chat box? And then Christian, why don't we go to, I think another myth is that, do I need to have a website, and how robust of a website do I need for my business, and what do we need to do? Because I think a website is important to talk and speak to your ideal client if you have the right words on it. And I don't think you need something too glamorous or robust. So I'd love it if you could share how the website integrates with everything you're talking about right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. I would say that your website is maybe not the first thing people will see. Again, most of the time they'll see your Google page. They see some good reviews. Okay, now we're on to the site. Now you've got a micro commitment from them. Your website has 2 jobs: get traffic and convert traffic. I don't care about much else on your site if it's not getting traffic and then starting a conversation. That's what a conversion is. It's real simple. I think marketing is relational. And so the main way that you start a conversation with your prospects is through your website. Now, the emails that come off of that, once they've given you their email and name and phone number, now we're off to further down the marketing funnel of how do you write emails that they actually care about. So that's a little further down. We do that for our customers. We write weekly emails, different tracks of content, but your website is the bridge from they found you on Google or an ad or somewhere or a billboard or radio, whatever, they're on your site. And now your website has, again, clear messaging and start a conversation. Your website should make it easy for them to take the next step. And so I would say, Michelle, you don't need a $50,000 website, right? You don't need to like sell a kidney to get a website, but like your website, when it's built properly, and what our industry is full of Our industry is full of cheap, commodified, glorified business card website services. It is different to build a website that has a job than to get a website that just has information that no one's ever going to see. So I'd rather have you a website. I'd rather you have a website than not have one. But most people that come to us are like, why does my website that I paid $97 for a month not working? And it's like, well, it's not quite designed to do the same thing that our websites are designed to do, which is, again, get ranked, get found. Google's an algorithm. It's just a set of factors. You want to play the Google game, make your website check all those boxes. But then when you've got someone on your site, you've got 7 seconds to get them to take the next step, or they're going to leave and go somewhere else. And most websites, it's quite confusing what I'm supposed to do next. I have to scroll for a while. I have to go to the contact page. I have to fill out this kind of clunky form that doesn't actually ask me pointed questions. We put surveys in front of all of our customers. So for our folks that we serve, an accountant or a bookkeeper or a tax planner, we're going to put surveys on their site that say, do you own a business? Do you have unfiled taxes? Do you have an in-house bookkeeper already? Do you need help with this, that, or the other? Tell me about you. If you make your website about the prospect and not about you, and you get traffic, good things can happen, but you need both. You need a website that gets traffic, and you need a website that starts a conversation. And then off of that, you need email follow-up, but that's a primer on websites.
So if they
for
have
me.
a website, will they magically appear on Google then? On like
Noah.
that first page?
Noah, go ahead.
Not
I'll
all
let Noah
websites
take it.
are created equal. No, won't. Most websites are not created equal. Most websites are created to be a digital business card. They are a place where someone can find out your services or your products. And if that's what you want, again, that's fine. So please, like, your Chris and I are heart behind this. Like, that's fine. And if people are, I tell people this all the time, like, if you're okay with your website not converting, that's fine. Like, it doesn't hurt my feelings if your website doesn't convert, comma. But if you want to get new clients, no, there's a lot of algorithmic factors. There's a lot of reasons why one website will rank over another website. I'm not going to, we do full presentations just on this topic, but it has to do with how your website's coded. What's the content? What platform is your website built on? Do you have active keyword maintenance and optimization on a weekly basis going on your website? These are all the things that the algorithm, again, because we're dealing with bots, but they're looking at the website saying, well, what keywords are on the website? How many of them? What about the service pages? And all of this different stuff equates to the conversation we were having before of how high do you rank? How quickly do you get there? And do you stay there? Because that's the other hard thing about marketing, Michelle, is it's a canoe in a river going upstream. Give me as many stinking paddles as we can put in that canoe, and we can get you there faster. But if you take certain paddles out, like we don't manage your website because we don't have to manage our clients' websites. We do have other offerings where we don't do that, and that's fine. But you do have to understand the website,
right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we manage most of our clients' websites because we know that it's going to rank you higher. It's going to rank you faster. It's going to start a conversation. It's going to convert. And that's really the point of all of this.
So Karen asked what about SEO? So how does SEO play a factor in this department?
Yeah, so SEO, again, stands for search engine optimization. And Karen, if I miss your question, feel free to clarify what you want me to speak on. But what I would say about SEO is if your website is built on something like Wix or Squarespace or by a company, I'm not trying to dunk on people, but just naming names because I deal with this a lot. Get NetSet, CPA Site Solutions, Build Your Firm. They're not building their site. And if you're building your own site on Wix and Squarespace, they're not building your site with truly SEO in mind, because SEO is a bunch of things, but one of the things is about content. So Google is evaluating your content, and there's three, it's an acronym, EAT. There's kind of three factors nowadays that we highlight: expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. Google can actually measure your contents on your site, your website's content, expertise, authority, and trust value. They've got a score for it. And if you've got the same website as 1,000 other people, you've already started with the wrong foot forward. You're not going to succeed when you have basically what amounts to duplicated content. That's a problem. So SEO is an on website and off website strategy. Your website can have SEO factors, which is on the back end. It's on the front end. It's telling Google what keywords you want to rank for and which ones you don't. SEO includes reviews. SEO includes posting content to Facebook. Optimizing for Google includes everything they're looking at, and they look at your content to Facebook. It's not a big factor, but when we think about SEO again, I ask different questions. What can I do on your website and what can I do off your site to speed this up? And again, reviews is on your plate. Everything else is on mine. And SEO is something that you should not, I don't think you should build a website without thinking about SEO, but the problem is in terms, right? You've got one group that says we do SEO. I say I do SEO. What's the difference? I go to H&R Block and get my taxes done, or I go to a really qualified CPA that's got decades of experience. It's a different thing, but it's the same thing. I'm still compliant if I go to Liberty Tax or do it through a software, but it is effectively a much different outcome. Noah, what do you think?
Yeah, the hard thing is in this industry is SEO it becomes this very gray nebulous term that people, you hear SEO and you're like, I don't know, I need to do it. But what does that mean to do SEO? And I always say it's like you can't do SEO, you have to be doing SEO. Okay, the Google, the algorithm, everything we play in is a constant, ever-changing entity. Okay, if you're ranking number one, that's great for right now. That means somebody else is coming after you. Somebody else is always coming after that ranking. To say for a lot of these, and I would say low cost budget solutions, because there's a lot of budget solutions where you'll pay $50 to $100 a month or less for a website. But that doesn't mean, and there's even like Wix will even say, hey, we'll do SEO to the site. It's like, well, I don't know, they may put a couple plugins or things on the back end. But SEO really, if we're talking on-site SEO on the website, yeah, there's a lot of coding, there's a lot of optimization, there's a lot of back-end work our web team does. And golly, do we have good web designers on our team. They're amazing. But really, the big hitter is going to be the content, like Christian said. And that's the onsite, that's the keywords. That's getting all of the right things into the site, getting the blog. We post blogs every single week. And here's the thing. Other firms may say, oh, well, this firm, they blog to my website once a month. Yeah, but that's a large, again, dare I say, low cost budget marketing firm that's writing one blog that goes out to 10,000 clients nationwide with zero unique authority to the content.
Right.
Therefore, it's not going to do anything. You're just spinning your tires in the mud, which we talk to people all the time. No, I've tried to do all these different things and it's never worked. And it's like, well, yeah, again, if I go back to my workout analogy, I can go into the gym and I can show up. That's what I'm supposed to do. But if I just go in and I don't know, I do a push-up and kind of walk around and take a TikTok video of look, I'm in the gym and I do a couple curls and a few jumpy jacks and I leave and I say, well, hey, I went to the gym. I did the thing. Well, I mean, technically, yes, but obviously you won't see any results from that. You need a plan. You need the right program. You need the right strategy.
Yeah. I've got some good questions here in the chat, Michelle, about websites. Maybe we hit those.
Go for it.
Karen and Patrick, I think you're asking the same question. 9 out of 10 times, maybe 99 out of 100 times, I'm going to rebuild a website that someone brings me. There are exceptions. If your site's already on WordPress, built on the right type of website builder, we prefer Divi or Elementor, just in terms of what website builder we find works best and is most friendly, then yeah, I can think about using your site. So WordPress, check. Divi or Elementor, check. The second thing is, yes, I can take over your site and do a lot of back-end SEO, do a lot of ongoing weekly blog content. I can do different things on your different pages because every page on your site should try and rank for one keyword. And most sites may have the homepage dialed in if they're lucky. It's usually a guess, like the guy that built your site or the SEO person that built your site or helped with your site there's not many people that do the research that they should do to then figure out what are your leads actually searching to try and find you. Now, here's where we get a little more technical. So let me just go here for a second. Different keywords have different authority scores. So if I'm in New York City and I want to rank for accountant, that's a pretty competitive keyword in a large market with a lot of search volume. Yeah. I can't slap up a new website and say, I want my homepage to rank for accountant and get there. Back to expectations on timing. Mm-hmm. So what do? We take a brand new site or a site that doesn't have a lot of authority, and we aim at keywords that we can rank for, which would be usually longer tail is what they're called. And that's a fancy way to say there's more words in the phrase. Accountant in Manhattan, New York. If someone did that search, there's going to be less volume, but it's also maybe a lower competition. The competition score, the authority score for that keyword is lower. So I might be able to make that my keyword for my homepage or my service page. Bookkeeper near me might have a lot of search volume and have a lot of competition, but Charlotte, North Carolina, bookkeeper, something. The more words you put in, if you start to build bricks in the wall of your site of keywords that you've gotten score for, you then build your authority and you can then tackle bigger keywords. So that's back to expectations. And reviews helps with this. If you have someone leave a review that includes some of the keywords of what you want to offer, back to like scripting, you don't want all your reviews to be the same. So don't send your clients the same script to post, but you might encourage them to mention, if you're encouraging them to do anything, encourage them to mention the services that you actually provided. Michelle Weinstein was great at sales, coaching, and consulting. Well, Google will capture that keyword. And then if someone types in sales coaching, accounting sales coaching, tax sales coaching, consulting, Michelle will start to bubble up to the surface because Google is seeing that she's got positive feedback from someone that actually says she did that service for them. So this is a little in the weeds, but the back end of your site, your reviews, you want to slowly gobble up keywords. And most WordPress sites, it's better to have a WordPress site than to be elsewhere. But that does not necessarily mean that we're aiming in the right direction. Because again, if you're not currently ranking on page one for free, it can happen. And some things need to change to get you there. Patrick and Karen, that's kind of both for you. Are the keywords what was called meta tags a while back? Kind of not meta descriptions and tags. Like on a website, your content can have tags. Like H1 tags are like the big, bold subject of that page. This is my accounting services page. That's an H1 tag. But then tags down the page might be H2, H3. So the keywords are slightly different than H1s and H2s and meta tags, just to be clear. But there are things in that ballpark, Karen, that you're hinting at that all are just technical SEO. The stuff that you guys probably don't want to learn about, but you just want it to work. You just want leads. So I'm kind of taking you into the weeds of like, this is why it doesn't work, because Google's looking for things that you've never learned how to do. You don't want to learn how to build websites properly. You just want it to work. So at some point, back to delegation. You have to decide whether this is something you're going to like. And you guys are all smart enough. I know you could. If you want to spend your time learning about this, or if you want someone just to handle it for you, whether it's me or someone else, there's other people than just us who will build you a proper ecosystem that gets you found and gets you leads. Great question.
Okay, cool. Are there any other questions that you all have to make sure we address them in the next 10 minutes? If so, please put them in the chat box. So I know, accountants probably think Christian and Noah like, well, I'm an accountant. What do I got to do digital marketing for? I just will get referrals and some people just find me. What would you say to that? Like, why would they need to do digital marketing or anything of what you've talked about? Getting reviews, right, ranking on Google, making sure your website, has enough in the SEO department, and why outsourcing that is probably a good idea.
Yeah. I think there's a few reasons you would invest in digital marketing. There's a few obvious ones. One would be you want to grow. So if you want to grow, digital marketing is just, don't pass go, don't collect $200 until you think about your digital marketing strategy for your business. That's like a very obvious to me, one that anyone that wants to grow should think about first before you think about anything else that's a little more like guerrilla marketing or old school marketing. I would ask the question of how can I leverage the internet, right? So if you want to grow, whether that's more clients that are the same as what you've got now, a lot of times it's new clients in a new direction. I want to pivot my firm and change. But I'd also say to those that are maybe not looking to grow as much, there's a number of reasons that you should consider investing in digital marketing. And one is, do you ever want to sell your business?
Yeah.
Because the value of your business will go up a lot when you have a healthy online marketing system that is regularly producing leads. If your business is built on you, it's not going to be as appealing in the sale. It's just not, because that's a big part of the question that a new owner is going to ask. Does everyone leave when you leave? Right? Are they connected to you? And obviously, in some ways, yeah, you serve them and they built relationship with you. But if you can show someone that you're regularly getting leads from people that may not need to be connected to the original owner, it's not a bad idea. So I think it's increasing just the underlying value of your practice and firm. It's also something that I think can reduce your churn. And maybe some of you are not there right now, but if you've ever been in a place where you had a good practice and then your knees got chopped out, something happened, a new startup, you lost some big clients, I would tell you that we see a lot of people come to us and describe, they don't say it this way, but this is kind of how I've distilled it. They describe this thing that happens to them, this experience they have in their business of people leaving because of perceived indifference. People don't think you care.
Mm.
And so if you want to keep your happy clients, that's where email marketing comes in. That's not something we've talked about much today, but regularly, weekly, if you can believe it, weekly emailing your customers with relational authoritative content is actually an amazing, amazing strategy, but it can reduce your churn and help your customer base from being sniped from someone else because you're following up with them in and out of busy seasons, in and out of deadlines. You're keeping in front of them with good authoritative content. That's a big service for us. That is maybe the secret weapon. We've talked a lot about reviews in Google. We didn't talk much about ads, talked about websites, but I would tell you that the secret weapon you have with digital marketing is email. If you do email well, you will succeed. Now, obviously, I want to do all things well, because when you do all these things together and build a healthy ecosystem, it all works better. We have packages that include these various services because the sum is greater than the whole of the parts. I would encourage you to do emails in conjunction with your website, in conjunction with your SEO, right? All of that works together. But I would tell you that, back to the original question, to not invest in digital marketing is just to leave what is a gold mine that any business throughout all of time would have killed to have. Just the ease, if you play the game well, the ease of getting in front of people without having to leave your office or do radio or do whatever. I know a lot of you have probably done stuff, right? I'm not talking to a group that's unfamiliar, but generally speaking, even if you're not feeling the pain right now that you just need to grow dramatically or need to grow a ton, you're not wrong to build a pipeline of leads, to build more brand authority, and to strengthen the value of your business. It's never wrong to do that. Maybe it's not right now, but in the near future, I think that's something most business owners, when they're just so busy in their business that they can't work on their business, they don't ask these questions. They don't ask the question about, how do I continue to increase my brand? How do I continue to increase the value of my firm and fill up my hopper of leads? Put them on a waiting list if you can't serve them now.
Right.
I've seen that happen a lot. Put
Yeah.
them on a waiting list.
When you
If
can
you're really
increase your
good.
value and your prices even more that way.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Patrick had another question then. I don't know. Matt asked, what's the typical investment? But I know that
Sure.
anyone here can book a phone call to talk to you about this, right?
Yeah. I'll put a link in the chat for people if they want to come talk to us.
Okay. But Patrick had one about like reviews that are tied to one area, to a big city. Does he need other review pages, tackle smaller? I would say
Yeah.
no, but
Christian, let me tackle that while you're putting that link in there. Patrick,
Right.
that's kind of a longer winded answer, and I could definitely riff on that one for a while. The short version is your Google business profile is now forever and always locally listed. Okay, so let me give you a free tip right now that if you already have your Google business profile claimed, make sure it's claimed to your local area. But Noah, I'm remote. Okay, I get it. I get it. Still make it claimed to your local region. Okay, so if you're in Spokane, Washington, make it for Spokane. Don't make it for all of Washington. because it's going to get watered down. Google is a local search listing. That's why when I go to Baltimore for work, I don't know Baltimore. It's a cool city. I've only been there a couple times, but I don't know Baltimore. So what am I doing? I'm Googling restaurants and coffee shops. So I don't want a coffee shop in DC to pop up, or Philly. A complete waste of my time. Okay, so that's like foundationally, that's kind of how the algorithm works. So to your question, Patrick, Michelle, I'm trying not to be long-winded, but I can already tell I am. There's a few different strategies.
Could you book a phone call with you?
Probably. We probably just need to talk. Yes, you could technically open up another Google profile. I wouldn't recommend it.
No.
That would be an ads conversation. So wherever your local market is, Patrick, if you're saying, okay, I live in this city, I live in Spokane, Washington, but I really want to get seen in Seattle, that's advertising. Advertising, we can get you seen anywhere. There are no boundaries with ads.
Right.
Google's local. You want to dominate your local listings first.
Right.
But in ads, we can spread that. We could spread that anywhere.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Thank you for that. Christian, is there anything else that you want to share that we didn't get to that you're like, I gotta say this before we go in 2 minutes?
No,
Karen, see you
it's
later.
unsurprising we didn't get to over half of the myths we wanted to get at, which is totally fine. And there's so much to riff on here, guys, and you have limited time. So thanks for joining us for this hour. I or Noah or another team member would be glad to keep this conversation going. My hope today is just as you're here, you're not getting CPE. So you're here because you want to be here, right?
Yeah.
You're here because you are curious about this. Take the next step, grab a call with us. It's free. Give us some homework ahead of time. You'll go to that page I posted and give us just some basics on your business. We'll come ready to tell you what we see, where you could have some opportunities and what we would recommend. And some of you might not be good fits for us. And I'll tell you, some of you might be though, and then I'll be able to give you clarity of what we could do next. And Matt, I can answer that question of like what investments are, right? It ranges, but depending on what you need, it just varies. It depends on your growth goals. It depends on what you've already got. I can tell you that we're not, $50 a month, and we're also not 5,000 a month, right? So somewhere below that, we've got some people that are advertising 4 and 5K a month, some people that don't advertise and are only spending 500 a month with us. It really is a range. So I'd be glad to give you more information, Matt. It just depends on what you need. Any of you, please, we're here to help. We love Michelle, love this community, and we look forward to talking with some of you guys soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for being here. And remember, sales and marketing go together. So if you want your return on your investment with Christian and Noah and their team, you have to have a process for your closing. So you all know how to get a hold of me for that. I know some of you I'm already working with, so that's great to see that you're here. And yeah, invest in marketing and invest in generating good quality leads and building your online home. Some of you have a brick and mortar home. Well, you need a home for the internet, and this is what they do. So book your call with them and have a beautiful day, everybody.
Thanks, guys.